Thank you so much for having me. We were excited to follow Stacy because River Legacy Foundation is 30 years old. We were formed 30 years ago. And as our mayor, Jeff Williams, said, we're a wonderful partnership between the public and the private sectors. So I'd like to also introduce Chad Etheridge is here. He's one of the naturalists and an expert on the Trinity River. And so if you have questions about our part of it, I'd love for you to talk to Chad or me afterwards. In the 70s and the 80s, Arlington had a great boom and a lot of urbanization was occurring. We became a destination for tourism and we had a lot of growth. And as a society, I think we started to understand that when we put in concrete, we change where the water goes. And so River Legacy was started because our mayor, Richard Green, who later became the regional head of the EPA for our region, he was our mayor and saw that the city had been gifted 376 acres of land. And though the gift had stipulations on it. The stipulations were that it had to be used for educational purposes and it had to be open to the public. And our mayor saw that that had been sitting there unused. The mayor's wife and another group of concerned citizens got together and realized that they wanted to create something that would be a real asset for our city, and also it would be a place where we could preserve the legacy and the value of the river for future generations. This group of people started to gather more land. Where I come from, that's called bottomland. And as our city grew, the zoning changed. And so a lot of the land was gifted to us, or we were able to get it for a very good price. And so we started gathering the land as a foundation, and then we gifted it to the city. So we were formed in 1988, and in 1990, the park opened. So our mission is to preserve and enhance the land along the Trinity River, its tributaries, and the area as a extraordinary educational and recreational resource. Our values are through preservation, education, and conservation, we will create stewards for this land. Education is a vast part of what we do. So through our educational experiences, we want to inspire that connection that we all have with nature. We invite people to explore nature. These days, I read a study that said that children in an urban environment have less free time outside than prisoners in a high-security prison. Isn't that appalling? We have a great, wonderful natural resource that's available to our children. However, we don't have any advertisements about that. The commercials say that if you want your children to be successful, you'll buy them an iPad or you'll get them more technology. And what we do is we work to make a gateway for people to go outside. We work to have that intrinsic connection that we all have to nature. We want to spark that for people. We ask people to slow down long enough. And our goal is that when people leave our facility, our programs, our outreach programs, that they are connected to nature in a way that maybe they weren't before. And maybe they're just a little bit more of an environmental steward. The park began, as I said, with 376 acres that were gifted to the city. Today, we have 1,300 acres. And of those 1,300 acres, we have border-to-border protected land along the Trinity. As Stacy was talking about, there's a goal that you would be able to go from Dallas to Fort Worth and never get on a highway. You could bike, you could walk, you could canoe or kayak. And Arlington is the first city of all those that has border-to-border protected land along the Trinity. We're very excited about that. One of the favorite things that I love about the park is, although we have 8 miles of mountain bike paths and we have a little more than 8 miles of paved path where people can see the river if you're walking or biking or using a stroller or a wheelchair, you can see the river from this path. We have areas that are pristine and will always be that way. In the history of the great parks, there are always areas like this, and River Legacy is committed to that low impact use. As we opened the park, the founders of River Legacy Foundation realized that really to educate our best way and the most people, that we needed to build a building. And so we opened the park in 1990, and in 1996 we opened our building. And as the mayor talked about, it was Arlington's first sustainably designed building. And it is still a relevant and valid building today. We have people from here, Kappa and UTA, who come to study it, as well as other universities, because it's just a beautiful building. It was Eddie Jones' first sustainably designed building, and he wanted it to look like it was nestled into the forest. His inspiration came from a little lean-to that children had made in the forest. And we feel like it's a beautiful building, and we would love for you to come see it. We're open tomorrow from 9 to 5. This is a list of a few of the current programs that we have. It's just a little bit of the list. We have 14,000 school kids who come on field investigations every year. We have after-school programs, homeschool programs, summer programs. We say that our learners are from 3 to 93. Now, my mom will be 94 in March, so I'm going to have to bump that up. We've been able to connect with the school district. So every 4th grader in Arlington Independent School District comes to us, and this is often the first walk in the woods for many of these kids. They get off the bus and they're afraid that there will be lions or tigers, and and bears, oh my. They leave and they say, this is the best day I ever had. And that's so exciting. We have a walk in the woods. We have a time to be in an outdoor classroom. And we also have programs inside so that they can learn about, explore what's on the forest floor, and have a visit from one of our animal ambassadors. In 2013, we had a renovation of our terrariums and aquariums. And the foundation owns that renovation. And then we give it to the city. We gift it to the city. So that way we were able to get the people from the MOLA, the Museum of Living Art, to come and design it. Now we have different species that are together. People can see how the animals move. A very common question is, where's the snake? And they can find that the snakes can climb up and hide and use their camouflage ability. And just like if you've ever gotten a new sofa, we realized that once we did that renovation, everything else in the living room looked bad. So we did another renovation. That was phase 2 of our renovation. So the building, we got a gift of $500,000 from the city and privately raised $4.5 million. And then in 2018, we did a $2.5 million renovation, which we owned and then gifted to the city. This is what it looked like before the renovation. Here's our riparian viewing room. Here's a 30-foot screen that puts learners into 3 different environments, 3 different habitats. We have life in the forest, life in a pond, and a fallen log. We use physical activity to help make a deep groove and connect all learners to nature. Thank you so much for having us. If you have any questions, I'd love to talk to you afterwards.